How's it going, YouTube? It's FuzzyXYZ here. Now today I'm going to bring you the first deck profile of the Help Me Build It budget deck series that I started, I think it was last week or the week before. I've been running a bit behind on this because cards that I need for certain decks like Karibo and Reaper Turbo and everything like that haven't come through the post just yet, or people have been delayed in trades, etc. The post around my area is really shocking at the minute. Hardly anything's coming through, and they're coming through at random times, to be honest. But one deck that I have more or less finished, I think there's one proxy in here by the way, is my CyberDark deck. Somebody recommended this on YouTube, and it was a deck that I really wanted to rebuild again. I say rebuild because back in the GX series days, a good couple of years ago now, I actually built this deck myself because I thought it was a really fun deck at the time. Obviously, as most people followed the anime and everything like that. Zane, in my opinion, was one of the best characters out of the GX series, so obviously I was a bit of a fanboy and built it myself. And it's been really cool and really fun to actually rebuild this deck in the current meta as it is, etc. It is really budget actually. I don't think the main deck costs more than about £20 in total, give or take. Most of the cards I had laying around, you could probably find these in your old collections, in your tins, binders, whatever. If not, most of them are really cheap to pick up. Most are being reprinted as common, this, that and the other. There is some, obviously, really good cards in the deck that probably most people should have anyhow, but I'll probably talk about that halfway through. And depending on how much you want to spend, it really depends on how good your extra deck is or not, but I'll probably talk about that after the deck profile as well. So, CyberDark deck, I'll go through the deck profile first and I'll explain what some stuff do, because obviously people might be new to this. So the first six cards are your CyberDarks. You have 2 Horn, 2 Edge and 2 Keel. This is basically your main win condition of the deck, these 6 cards here. Basically what they do is that all 3 of them, when they're normal summoned, you get to equip a level 3 or lower dragon from your grave, and it gains the attack of the equipped dragon. And then each of them has their own singular effects. CyberDark Horn does piercing, Edge can attack directly but the damage is halved, and Keel, when it destroys monsters by battle, you inflict 300 damage, so this can make cards miss timing, which is pretty cool. And then all of them have, again, the same effect, that if they were to be destroyed by battle, you can just send the equipped card to the graveyard, so it's pretty cool. Some awesome effects, especially Horn doing the piercing over Dracosack tokens, it's pretty cool. The next 2 cards are the actual dragons that I like to equip to the CyberDarks. 200 dragons. The reason why I chose these is because these are the highest attack level 3 dragons in the entire game. 1,700 vanillas. So what you do is you normal summon one of your CyberDarks and you equip this to it from the grave, and then it becomes 2/5. A 2/5 level 4 normal summon monster is really cool. It's unsurprising as well. And remember, like I said, if they were to be destroyed by battle, then you can just unequip this. So you can suicide into a Stardust, into stuff like that, and then your monster will still survive. And my phone is going off, unfortunately, sorry about that. Which is pretty cool. Now, because they are vanillas, I have obviously thought playing Rescue Rabbit and putting this up to 3. But to be honest, these are really bad in hand. There is a card that I have in the deck that can help get rid of cards from hand, but 2 is enough, because if one gets bottomless, then you've still got another one for backup. The next card is 3 Mystic Tomatoes. Everything in the deck is dark and most of the monsters are under 1/5. So this basically thins out the deck, and one of your main aims that you want to search for off of that card is Armageddon Knight. Basically when this is summoned, special summoned or whatever, normal summoned, you get to basically Foolish Burial, so most of your main target will be the Hunter Dragon. The next 2 cards are 2 Black Salvo. Basically, this is a really good card because it targets all of your CyberDarks in grave. You get to special summon it, and then you get to synchro for a level 7. Mainly Black Rose to completely nuke the field. And then standard cards like Gauze and Dark Arm. These are 2 big boss monsters that can help you in games or It goes especially against like decks that can OTK can prevent that. And the final two cards, like I said, are two Maxis. Obviously, we are trying to keep it with the meta, so Maxi is a really good card this format. And depending on what your budget is, if you're building this, then you might not want to run Maxis, or you might not want to. It depends on how competitive you actually want to play it. I just thought about this about playing at locals. I know there's dragons there. I know there's decks that spam like crazy, like Samurai and Gem Knights and stuff like that. Also, if you just want to play this on DN, then I would suggest Maxis for when you're actually playing them high tier decks. Onto the spells, you have one CyberDark Impact. This I think is probably the most expensive card in the deck. You don't have to play it if you don't want to. You could probably find another alternative. But basically what this does is you return one of each of the CyberDarks from your hand, field or grave, return it to the deck, and then you get to special summon a CyberDark Dragon from your extra deck, which is pretty cool, especially late game. I'll get onto CyberDark Dragon's actual effect when I go into the extra deck. Then you have basically the staples, Whole, Storm Reborn. It is a low tier deck, so you do actually kind of rely on your staples. Same with the two MST. People don't run MST at the minute, but obviously if you're playing this maybe at locals or something, then you might not win a couple of games, so you could be at the bottom end of the table. So a lot of the lower tier decks still play Black Crow, so MST is still necessary. One Book of Moon is basically a trap in this deck. It can be offensive and defensive. Pot of Avarice, you go through your monsters like crazy, so it's best to refuel. Allure of Darkness, like I said, most of your monsters are darks. I think the only ones who aren't are the Maxis. So you can get an extra bit of draw power. Mind Control, basically you exceed rank 4s a lot and you can synchro summon, obviously with the black salvos, so Mind Control lets you manipulate both of them plays. Foolish Burial, same reason as Armageddon Knight, to put them 100 dragons to grave. You can also Foolish away a CyberDark maybe for a black salvo play. Lightning Vortex, this is the card that we're talking about getting them dead 100 dragons and stuff like that to the grave. Also, this deck can open pretty bad, to be honest. If you don't more or less open a Mystic Tomato or an Armageddon Knight, you can have dead CyberDark. So an easy way to get cards into your grave that are already in your hand is by Lightning Vortex. Now this is the proxy I was talking about. Unfortunately, like I said, the post hadn't delivered this card. I think I'm going to have to go on eBay and buy another one, and unfortunately I didn't have one myself, which I found pretty surprising. This card is meant to be limiter removal. Basically, your CyberDarks are basically 2/5, so if your opponent swings into your CyberDarks that has more attack than 2/5, limit removal can be a very punishing card. Also remember stuff like CyberDark Horn and Edge, when they can like attack directly and do piercing. Limit removal over Dracosack tokens can be pretty fun. And the final two spells are two Dark Eruption. If anybody has supers of these, please let me know, by the way, because I do actually want supers. But Dark Eruption, you get to add a dark target with 1/5 attack or less from your graveyard to your hand, so you can reuse your Black Salvos and you can reuse your CyberDarks. So for spells, onto the traps. Probably the best trap this format if you are actually playing back row, and that is 3 Compulse. Compulse is amazing for getting rid of Exceeds, it's good for getting rid of Synchros, even Fusions, because Gem Knights are actually seeing play now. But Compulsory is really good, especially for going against the meta decks like Dragons, getting rid of the Dragosacks, the Big Eyes. There's not many cards that actually slow this deck down, just bigger monsters, so you can compulse them as well. Next two cards, 2 Torrential. Torrential is just for one of them decks where people against decks where people just overextend, like Gem Knights, Samurai and everything like that, and they haven't got the protection, and by the end of it you just completely torrential the field. Also, if you're a smart player, this against Dragons, if they've used up like at least 3 out of 4 of their big Dragons effect, and you torrential, they can't make an Exceed play or anything like that because they've already used, like I said, already used the effects, so it does buy you an extra time. And the final 2 cards is 2 Eradicate Eradicator Epidemic Virus, or EBV. The reason why I play this is because you play Gauze, you play Dark Armed, you can synchro into Darks, you can exceed into Darks, but mainly it's just for your CyberDarks, because with a Hunter Dragon attached they are automatically 2/5, so if you attack and they Mirror Force, Deprison, anything like that, or even if they're attacking you and their monster's big enough, then you can just EVV. EVV is a really punishing trap card this format, especially against decks like Prophecy, Dark World and Samurai for spells, and then just the rogue decks that play heavy back row, and you can just call traps, and then you can normal summon an attack without having fear. So that's it for the deck profile, basically. Like I said, the deck is really cheap, it's really fun. I've been testing it on DN, testing it with my teammates, and like me personally, I absolutely love the deck. I find the power of, like I said, having normal summonable 2/5 monsters is really fun. And especially this card over Drago set tokens, the fact that it does piercing can actually win you games as well. Now, like I said about the extra deck, obviously I have a Ghost token. The extra deck is entirely on what you want to spend money wise. If you want to put a lot into it, then you can obviously get a lot of the higher price stuff, but to be honest, the only cards that you actually need are more or less these three here. Your CyberDark Dragon is just for when you are able to get CyberDark Impact off. It's just basically one of the extra deck cards. Black Rose and Ancient Fairy. These two are basically your Black Salvo players, as you will synchro into level 7s a lot. Now, me personally, I only have one Black Rose and one Ancient Fairy. I've built this on DN. I actually have two Black Rose in my extra deck. One is for basically early game and one's for late game. Now, going back to the CyberDark Dragon, the reason why this is actually really good is when you actually get CyberDark Impact off, this is effect lets you equip any level dragon from your grave, and it gains its attack. So what you'll tend to do is go normal summon Black Salvo, synchro into Black Rose completely nukes the field, CyberDark Impact into this, and then this is effect will equip this. So this is basically 3/4, and then it gains an additional 100 for every monster in your grave. So this can go up to about 6k, and with a limit removal, that's more like game. So that's basically it for like the fusions and synchros. I have a level 6 synchro in there as well. If I had one, I'd play Iron Chain, because that's another dragon target for CyberDark Dragon. The reason why I play Gaia is because you can get over a Stardust. But basically, all you have to do is gather a collection of rank 4s. I recommend Shotmaster due to the fact that you play Mind Control, and you can more or less keep a monster on the field because your CyberDarks can stay on the field even if they've lost the material. A card I do recommend is Evil Swarm Nightmare, and the other one, which I believe is Evil Swarm Thanatos. The reason being is that it only requires 2 level 4 dark monsters, which is basically your entire deck, and this can be really effective against cards at the target. That's the Thanatos, by the way. But Nightmare can be good against dragons, especially if they can't get over like one of your CyberDarks. I think it's Blaster and Tidal are the ones that can not get over CyberDarks when they've got equipped, so this can just flip them face down, which is pretty cool. Other than that, cards like Utopia, Gemini Pearl, they'll be seen in your extra deck. They're pretty easy to pick up. Unfortunately, they haven't come through the post, which is pretty annoying. But like I said, depending on how much money you want to put into it, you can play Giga Cowboy, Direwolf. You can even play Chaos Utopia because you're obviously playing Mind Control. So really, the extra deck is all dependent on how much money you want to put into it, but mainly the ones that you need would be Black Rose and then a couple of rank 4s, to be honest. And that's basically it, guys, for the CyberDark deck. Like I said, it's really fun. I will try and manipulate this deck and get it a little bit better. Obviously the format is really fast at the minute, but if you just want to play for fun and casually and actually do some damage against the meta decks, like say main deck EVVs, is really fun. Seeing Prophecy players scoop at that. I know from experience. But that's pretty cool. Other than that, guys, I will continue with this Help Me Build It series with budget decks, etc. Kribo Chaos and Reaper Turbo will be coming as soon as the post comes and I get these cards through. Other than that, guys, I've had a load of requests for different decks and whatever. I have taken them into consideration. I've built them on DN, my personal ones, just waiting for cards to come through and to have that little bit of cash to put towards it. Keep sending me your deck ideas. I do look into them. Sorry if I don't reply. I'm not being ignorant. It's just that I might just have a quick read through, build it straight away on DN, and I'll PM you back at some later point. But like I said, you can message me on YouTube and Facebook. Other than that, guys, it's been FuzzyXYZ. Hope you like the series. Cheers.